Don't you know, it is getting hard, 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 hard. Any secrets to be a part of me.
Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at brakes. While the gearbox is out of the car and being rebuilt again, I decided that I'm going to do these brakes so that when it's all back together, it's tip-top. These discs have definitely seen better days. They needed replacing last year. What happened was I had some brake pads that worn right down, and on, I think it was the driver's side, they started to score the inside of the disc. I managed to clean them up and put new pads in, but they are very rusty. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the discs and the pads, and I'm also going to rebuild the calipers. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to paint everything up and make it all look nice. It's the usual story. I've never done a caliper rebuild in my life before, so I'm going to be learning on the job. These are the parts that I'm going to be using. As you can see, they've been in the garage quite a while. I've had them about a year now. I knew that it needed doing. It's just been one of them jobs that I've never got around to doing. Now I knew that one of my front calipers was sticking, so I bought a caliper rebuild kit and I'm going to have a go at building it myself. So these are the parts that we're going to be using. We've got Terra Firma performance pads. These are actually for a 200 TDI. I will explain why I have them in a bit. Over here we have the brake caliper rebuild kit. Comes with new seals, gaskets and 4 new stainless steel pistons. Then over here we've got a brake caliper rebuild kit. Comes with a, I don't know what you call that, a seal tool, dirt seal tool it's called. And then under here, put all this away, we have some drilled and grooved front discs. So they are the new parts to go on. I'll move them out of the way for now. Now the first job that we've got to do obviously is to jack the car up and remove the wheels. Now I've done that already. I don't need to show you how to do that. You've seen me do it a million times. I think the wheels have probably been off the car more than they've been on the car. So yeah, not going to bother with that. The next job is to remove the pads, but I'm going to need some tools. So because I'm using the tools in the back of the car all the time, I thought I'd make the rear drawer a little bit nicer. Check this out. So I've made a removable socket drawer thing. With all my sockets on. So I need that. I need some pliers. Possibly them. And maybe a screwdriver. Okay, so looking at the caliper, we have 2 pins that go through here, and they are holding 2 spring clips which hold the pads into the caliper. So we need to bend these split pins back and then pull the pins out. Those are the springs and a split pin. So if you put them to one side, because you will need them for refitting the pads. These pads are actually alright, they're not in bad condition, so I'm going to put them to one side and I'm going to keep them in case anything happens, keep them for spares. They might come out, they might not. you might be able to see we've got quite a lot of life left on them, so they'll do for spares. Put them to one side. Make sure that you don't get any stuff on the friction material, no oil, none of that. As soon as that happens, they're knackered and they just won't bin in. There we go, that's two. What I usually do is I usually put them on top of each other like that, and then stick them in a bag. Okay, so this is the part where if you were just fitting new pads in, not changing anything else, you would push the pistons back into the caliper to allow for the bigger new pads. I'm not going to do that because I need to push these pistons out. So I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to remove the caliper. To remove the caliper, you're going to need a 13mm socket, and I think this is a 24 point. Is it 24 or 12? 12 point. 12 point socket. It is a, if you can see, if it ever decides to focus on it. There you are. As you can see, it's a 12 point socket. And there's two bolts that go on the back of the caliper. This is the lower pin, bolt, whatever you want to call it. You put your socket on there, and then you have another one up here. You like helping Daddy, don't you?
Yeah, with
Daddy's little helper?
yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Why? We can't do that. We can't do that. We have that door to say
Yeah.
right. Daddy, guess what? I rolled through there and didn't hurt himself.
Yeah.
Learn how to do
There we
that.
go. So now I'm not going to take the caliper completely off just yet. I'm going to tie it up out the way.
Why?
Just like this. Because I need to make a little tool to stop all the brake fluid from falling out of the caliper. So I'm just going to tie it out of the way till I get one of them. I'm going to support it with a bungee, and that way it's not going to stretch the brake lines.
How have you done that, Daddy?
That's not going to stretch the brake lines now, it's just hanging there.
How
out of the way.
have you done that?
Now we're going to remove the hub, because the brake disc is attached to the back of the hub. 17mm. It's not going to work, is it? Need a bar like this, slot it between the wheel studs. That locks the hub from moving. There we go. Just be very gentle that doesn't ping out. Now you're going to need a 52mm socket to go on this nut here if you have these heavy duty drive flanges. If not, you'll have a rubber cap that you just take off. Set of circlip pliers. There we go. There's also a couple of shims. Keep them safe. feel good. Now we need to fold this lip down using a old screwdriver. .52mm socket. Put that to one side. And this should just peel off. And again, undo the second nut. And there is a little washer there. You remove that by doing that. So you just release the bearing. Take the washer off. And the bearing, try not to get any dirt in the bearing. I'll put that to one side. And you can see from this seal is knackered. Okay, so now we've got everything off, we can have a right good look at everything. This seal inside is worn, that's going to need replacing. Also this stub axle, there's quite a lot of wear here once the camera focuses. There's quite a lot of wear there, so I'm thinking this stub axle is going to need to be replaced. They're not expensive and they're quite easy to do, so I'm going to get a new one of them ordered. I'm going to have a look at the other side though first. Okay, so this is a good reason why I do everything myself. I can see exactly what the condition of things are, and if I need to, I'll just order some new ones. Some people may try and make do with stuff like this. I want it to be tip top, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this stub axle off, and then I'm going to get the other side off, and we'll have a look at that one, and then we'll start ordering some new parts. Now these are 17mm again. Somebody's got a noisy scooter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bar. This is called swivel grease.
But why is it leaking?
Because I've undone the hole.
Why is the two of them leaking?
Have to break the seal.
Me can help with that.
Come out the way for you. Come out the way.
But you tell me can help. We're only allowed to look, aren't we?
There we go.
We've got everything. It's like ice cream. It says ice cream.
It's not ice cream.
What is it?
Definitely not ice cream.
What is it?
This is called a stub axle, and that is called a swivel joint.
What?
It appears to have escalated a bit. No, just oil.
A little bit. No. Oi, 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 oi. Smell it. Oi.
Well, that's massively escalated, hasn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove the swivel completely from the axle, and I'm going to take it in the garage, clean it all up and check everything over. I want to make sure everything is tip top. And there we go, that's it all removed. I'll just pull the swivel away. Hopefully there's not too much oil coming out. It's good. There we go. Well, that has escalated into a bit more of a job. We're now doing the swivels and all the seals and everything. So I'm going to get all these parts cleaned up and we'll assess them and see what the damage is and what parts we're going to need. Join me for the next video where we're going to be doing all that.